Hey guys, Matt Fouch here. This is Bass Singing Central. Thanks for tuning in. You guys love bass singing, and that's why you come back for all of these videos. If it is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and you click to get notifications so you don't miss any of the videos we release in the future. If you like the It's a Bass Thing gear, you can get it. Click the link in the description below. Guys, this time we have Rhett Roberts. He is the bass singer for the group called the Ball Brothers. Now, they have hundreds of millions of views on their videos. You guys will absolutely love hearing from Rhett. He is a relatively young guy, depending on which bass singers you listen to. Rhett is a young guy, and he has a lot of great content and a lot of great information for those of us looking for tips and ideas and placement for bass singing. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this video with Rhett. We have Rhett Roberts here, man. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, you've had a unique journey. You're now in the Southern gospel world, but you haven't
Yep.
always been in that world. So give the guys watching this video a little bit of your backstory before we get into talking about bass singing.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I was born and raised in Redding, California. I lived there all my life. I'm 27 years old now, and grew up in the church, sang all my life. I started singing when I was about 4. Started singing harmony even at that age. Always had a love for gospel music, a cappella music, you name it, choir. I was doing it. So did some quartet singing through high school. Just with a local group in my choir, and then went to college and sang in choir, some a cappella groups there. Moved to St. Louis, Missouri. I studied voice there under some great teaching there. I was only there about a year, and then I actually moved back to California, got married, and then now I live in Georgia, singing with the Ball Brothers. So.
Nice, dude. You've been all over the country already at 27.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, relatively, you're young, relatively young, I'll say for bass singing, because on this channel, a lot of the videos, the guys will say things like, "Don't focus on the lows right now when you're young." For guys that are in their teens and early 20s, and they're always wanting to sing lower. So relatively, you're pretty young for being out there singing bass.
Yeah.
Give those guys watching right now who are in their teens and early 20s just a couple thoughts on what it's like going through that process. Because as bass singers now that are a little bit older, myself, that's been a few years ago, but you just came through that. So give those guys
Yeah.
some thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I would say one of the first things I started doing when I was in high school and sang quartet, gospel quartet, I primarily sang bass, but I also sang baritone as well. So I was kind of in the middle. I was never really like a true bass singer. I'm still not a true bass singer, I guess you'd say. But one of the things I did just growing up, I would sing every day. Yeah, every chance that I got, I would sing, go in my room, listen to other bass singers, try to emulate their sound, sing every note with a quality sound that I could. So
Yeah.
those are the definitely the first things that I started doing, growing up. And I still continue to do that as well.
Well, how did you, I'll say for me as a young bass singer, all I wanted to do was sing low because in the world that I grew up in, and a lot of guys watching this, they are in all different kinds of music. They just like bass singing. So for me, I was hearing all these Southern gospel bass singers hit low notes, and I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to do what they're doing. How did you break through kind of that mental? I guess in a way, it's a mental thing you got to break through to get to the point where you start focusing more on being a singer that sings low as opposed to only focusing on trying to hit low notes.
Yeah, right. I mean, anytime, I mean, vocal production is obviously the biggest thing around that.
Yeah.
Anytime you're wanting to sing bass or in any vocal range, if you use poor vocal production, pressing too much, using your throat muscle, it makes everything sound thinner and you're just not going to get there. So, and when you can get to that point where you sing comfortably, I mean, I would say a bass singer should be able to sing a low C. So what is that? A C2 to like an E4. I would say that would be, a bass range. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Man, you were talking earlier about doing all the different things, and you said you weren't really a bass singer. That's in the eye or the ear of the beholder. I'll say that. But you've done some really cool stuff on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of your videos on your channel there where you're doing all different parts, and I think you call it
Yeah.
Rhett Tracks. Is that what it's called?
Rhett Tracks. Yeah. So,
All right, so
okay.
talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that because I know some of these guys watching are into that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, when let's see, I was about a senior in high school and I was introduced to barbershop quartet singing. And I have a guy that I heard of. He's one of my good friends now. Tim Warwick is his name. And he does a similar thing where he recorded all the parts. And I heard a recording and I thought, man, that's cool. I want to do that. So I just started singing little tags here and there and just in my bedroom recording. And then I got involved actually in barbershop quartet singing chorus, did various competitions internationally, went to Canada,
Wow.
Vegas, you name it. So, but as far as the recording goes, yeah, I just started putting videos up just to, because I thought it was cool and I thought people would want to see it and, have someone sing all the parts, make your own quartet.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I still do that. I actually run a kind of a side business, rhetttracks.com. So I get music from clients that need recording done for their quartet. They want to learn the parts. They have the music, but they just need some assistance on the parts. So I record all the parts, and they get them all individually, and they can learn their parts easier that way. So
Wow. I'm like, I don't know music. I can't read music. I don't really hear parts all that well. I just hear low note and I go for it, right? Like that's my thing. So it's cool to talk to guys like you that have a totally different perspective and a totally different outlook and a totally different journey. Because so many guys watching this channel are in different phases of where they are musically and what they like. But for all of us watching this, we love bass singing specifically, and that's why the guys
yeah.
tune into this channel. So, what are some tips you would give these guys that relate specifically to bass singing?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. The first thing that I would say, and I'm sure any singer can attest to this, singing from the mask. We've all heard that term. It's more of a metaphor than anything. The really only control you have over what kind of sound you make as far as your head, your face is concerned. When people say I'm placing it, in the cheekbones or in the forehead, they're just sensations that we have to try to make the sense of that. So,
Uh,
um,
yeah.
I would say the best way for getting a brighter sound to take to your bass singing to get that sound you want. Pretend you have an apple and you're biting into it and you stop about halfway and you get that sound. And you put it way up in here. My professor at University of Missouri where I went to, he was a great bass singer. Still is a great bass singer. And he would say, sing through your eyes. You want to almost feel it come through your eyes, the energy. So
Wow.
yeah, the full face vowels, that's another big thing. Whether you're singing E or oo, you want to feel like you're saying ah. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, vertical ah on the inside of every vowel.
Cool. Now, when you go for the low notes, what
Yeah.
kind of like that's the type of placement that you're personally using when you're doing low notes with the Ball Brothers?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, I don't do a lot of low notes with the Ball Brothers. I mean, as a group, we actually switch parts around a lot. So I'm not always singing bass. Sometimes I'll sing baritone. Sometimes I'll even sing tenor. You just don't really notice it. But if I am singing a bass note, you just got to relax. That's the big thing. Don't tense up. Support in the diaphragm. Your breathing is the most important thing. I say with hitting a low note, your
Yeah.
breathing is essential. A lot of people will breathe through their shoulders, and that's not good. You want to breathe low down to the ground, to the bottom of your feet. You want to feel it go all the way through your body. So,
Wow. That sounds really technical.
yeah, it is, and it takes time. You're not going to learn it overnight. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I find myself personally, I try to do the whole breathing from my gut, basically.
yeah, Yeah.
getting those, but I always end up doing it up here too. It's like
Yep.
I'm filling my whole body with air, it feels like, and I got to do that if I want to have any chance of trying to hit that low note, because without the air
Yeah.
support, you're not going to get there. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And there will be times, at the end of the night where I know I pushed too hard or I didn't do something right, and I'm like, man, I sang way too hard tonight. So it takes a toll on your voice as well. So
Your body will let you know for sure.
yep. Yep.
Hey man, what is a warm up, kind of your go-to warm up before you guys go out on stage every night? What is your thing that you think would give value to these guys watching?
Yeah. I would say the main thing that I do personally, I mean, there's lots of things you can do as far as warm-ups go. I do like a bubble, so you just go, and you take it up real high, you take it up low. It just gets that buzz in your voice that you want to have to get that ping and that resonance.
Yeah.
Um, there's certain phrases that you can say. I know um, Tim Riley from Gold City, he would always say green, green. He would put it real forward. There's other words that you could use to emulate that. I mean, any e or ah. But
Yeah.
yeah, the bubbling is a good one. You could bubble into your falsetto range and then all the way down. That's one that I use most often, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you work on developing your low end, is there an exercise that you go to for that has helped you over the years to kind of help you maybe get another note lower or a half a note,
Yeah.
or to make that just a fresher sound on your low end? Is there an exercise that you go to for that?
There's one that I would say. Again, my voice teacher in Missouri that I learned from a year, he always said he was kind of like me. He never really had the bass notes all the way down at the bottom when he was my age. As you said, your voice develops over time. I
That's
mean,
right.
a real any bass singer, your voice really isn't developed till you're probably mid 30s, something like that. So
Yeah.
even my voice is still developing. Um, but to answer your question, one of the techniques I would say that you can work on or use is doing a falsetto. So but then you sing it in a lower register. It sounds really ugly and
Okay.
very unpleasant, but it's just like, and then you kind of roll it down all the way. If you do that every once in a while, your voice will get lower.
Huh.
I've done that for a while, and it does work. It sounds terrible, but uh, it really does work.
Go ahead and give us a terrible instruction.
So, so it'd be something like this.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. That's awesome. Man, is there anything that's coming to your mind right now that you're thinking, I wish somebody had told me this while on my journey of singing bass, particularly?
oh man, um, I would say, boy, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a lot of the placement things I didn't learn till college, so I would have liked to have known that earlier.
Hmm.
Um, Go listen to singers that you look up to, or you would want to be like, or emulate that sound.
Yeah.
Um, you know, for me, it would be not just bass singers. I mean, obviously George Yance, but like even like a David Phelps. He's not a bass singer, but he's got great vocal control. Vocal range, all that. So yeah, listen to singers that you say, hey, I want to be like that, like you kind of said earlier. So
Yeah. And that's what I did on my journey. I picked five guys, and I picked guys that all had something different that I wanted to try to accomplish,
sure,
uh, with the way that they sang. And I wanted to try to, like you said earlier, emulate what they each did because it was something different to me. And so I feel like my voice kind of came into its own. I kind
mm,
of came into my own sound, my own thing. Although not completely different from everybody else, but yet I don't get night in and night out. Man, you sound exactly like insert anybody's name,
right,
because I don't want to
sure,
do that. I want to be Matt Fouch. And
that's
so I
right.
think that's one big thing, is finding those guys out there that you that you listen to, that you mimic in a way and try to reproduce those same sounds, because I think a lot of that is what helps you come into your own, especially if you're picking 4 or 5 different guys,
Yeah,
not 2 or 3 of the same guys. Then you're gonna, I think, end up on your own sound. Man, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, give all these guys watching where they can go and connect with you with your Rhett Tracks and your social presence and all that.
Yeah, if you just search my name on YouTube, you can find any of my multi-track videos that I've done. Like you said, rhettracks.com. I have a bunch of music on there you can buy, or just check that out. And then also follow the Ball Brothers. Yeah, on Instagram, Facebook. We're gonna be putting out some new videos and content soon, so be on the look for that as well.
Yeah, I saw you playing an instrument in your guys'
Yeah,
newest video. You weren't even singing much, it didn't look like.
yeah,
So
my fellow back here.
multi-talented.
Yeah.
Hey, Rhett, thanks so much for your time today, man.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.